Ta-da! 6-cylinder compact. Well, today's the day. I've done a little bit of prep work, but I've got the full day off today for the public holiday. Hopefully today is the day that the 6-cylinder engine and the manual box is going in the compact. I am still waiting on a couple parts, so it's not going to be driving, but hopefully it'll be in and running. Alright, so the biggest hurdle at the moment with turning this into a drift car is, apart from the engine not being in it, is a distinct lack of a third pedal just there. So let's sort it out. Now that lower dash cover's gone, there's not much stopping us just undoing those 4 bolts there and disconnecting the brake pedal, and that's going to come out, and then we just slide our new one in. This is way easier in a compact than a coupe or a sedan. Like, it's the same job, but the sedan dash sits a lot lower, I think, because you normally have to lay up under the dash to undo some of these bolts, whereas I can look straight at them in the compact. I've got my one out of storage here, which just came out of a car that I wrecked side by side with the other one, and you can see, apart from the brake pedal being half the size, being a manual brake pedal, there's not much difference. It's just going to bolt straight in. I do have to swap the brake switch because this one's a 2-wire, this one's a 4-wire. And I do have to put the clutch master cylinder on because that wasn't stored with the pedal box. I have got one here. This did come out of some spares that I got from someone else, so I don't know the condition of it. So I've pulled it out just so I can get this line out the top of it. But I have actually bought a new one because, for the sake of 70 bucks, this, if it's been sitting without fluid in it, in the weather or whatever, the inside of it could be wrecked, and I don't want to put it in and it not work and then have to pull it out and do it all over again. That little piece that I needed out of the master cylinder did not come out in a usable condition. Couldn't even get it out with a pick trying to get underneath it. You can see it's just gone straight through it. I guess 20 years worth of brake fluid on that did no good to it. Before the manual pedal box can go in from the inside, we have to punch out this hole and down under here this hole, and that's the feed and where the clutch master comes through. Hole in the carpet behind here as well. Cool. Okay, in true budget car fashion, I'm stealing some brake line off of my wreck. Obviously this isn't going to get used in this car anymore, and that's almost probably the right length. Added bonus is we already have the flare nut from the other car, which is the right size for that clutch. So now what we're going to try and do is just mirror this sort of setup down here, the way it comes out and around, goes up over the steering shaft and down to the other side of the engine, down in there. Now, if you can afford fancy brake line benders and stuff like that, really good, do that. It's definitely the better way to do it. I don't have one, and I'm not about to go out and buy one, so I'm just going to dodge it up. First thing we need is a 90°, so I'm going to use my engine stand handle here and just sort of guide the pipe around it. And it's not perfect, but it's going to do the job. So that's step one. I will be the first one to say that this is not the best job, but it clears the steering shaft. It fits in that factory location. It doesn't quite fit in that factory location, so I've just cable tied it. But that's it. It's going to work. If you were doing this for yourself, I would suggest making sure that you get this in like the exact right spot, but I'm not using a factory soft line for the slave cylinder anyway, so that can kind of be wherever, because I've got a really long soft line that I just need to sort of cable tie out of the way. Because we're going from a 4-cylinder to a 6, there's a bunch of extra brackets here that we don't need, so I'm going to get rid of them. Like, that's for the ignition coil, which 6 cylinders a coil over plug. That's for the AC, so that can go. That's for the power steering. That mounts somewhere different on the 6 cylinders. That is for some sort of pollution control thing, I'm pretty sure, which we also don't need, so that can go. Basically just going to cut all that stuff out so it's less things, 1, in the way, and 2, for me to cut my hand on when I'm reaching down to try and undo a bolt. Unfortunately, I ran out of time to record on my phone, filled the memory up, so you missed the grinding it all smooth, and I put some primer down in each of the spots last night, and I'm just going to put some white down on it now. It's not even close to the proper colour of the car, but it's at least a white, so I'm just going to put a couple of coats of that on, and no more rough edges to cut myself on. You can see I'm very careful with overspray. Don't want any overspray getting anywhere. Try and do a really good job and not get any runs. Make sure you shake the can really well so it doesn't spot and do what that one has. Something I have not done yet that I need to do is get rid of this shifter, and more importantly the stuff underneath that's going to stop the manual shifter coming up. Just pop this up and out of the way. I wonder why it was so hard to get that piece out. Guess this car just got even more budget. It's given us money back. Well, there's an extra $6 that I didn't know I had. Nice. I've pulled apart probably more stuff than I had to. I've never pulled a compact dash apart, so I just sort of tried to get whatever was in the way out. But we can get rid of this now with just a couple bolts and yeet that into the bin. So I've just changed this rear main seal here. The clutch that I had kicking around in the shed that I got off someone else as a spare, I haven't actually looked at it. It's not looking real healthy on the flywheel, so if this goes in and won't clutch kick, this is why, and I'll probably have to buy a new clutch. This is not how you should put a clutch in, a flywheel on either, by the way. Red Loctite and a rattle gun is no substitute for a torque wrench. Unless you're me, and then that's how I'm doing it. Torque to spec. Better just to be safe. I'm sure this is going to help a lot, but make sure you brake clean your flywheel when you're putting a clutch on. Don't want any shit in there, and since this has been sitting in a shed for a long time, it's got a lot of built up crap. Alright, I'm pretty sure that that is everything ready to go, so better get this in and get this done. As you can see, the weather's not looking real good, and plus I have to have the engine crane back at work by tomorrow, so let's get this engine bolted up. My advice to anyone else planning on doing this is invest in an engine leveler. Would have made that way less work. Alright guys, I'm going to call it quits on this video here. I've dropped a tail shaft on my head while I was underneath. I've got a massive lump and a killer headache, so I'm pretty done. I do have to wait for 102 sensor and that fitting for the clutch before I can actually get the car running anyway. So I think this is a good stopping point. Engine's in, it's all bolted up, and yeah, next video we'll get it all finished off, running and a drive in the next video. All things going well, as long as everything works.